and gentlemen, welcome to another insightful episode of Beyond the Tech. My name is Neda Maria Kaizumi, your host, and today we have a special guest, Mr. Mike Silverberg, who is a seasoned professional at the intersection of talent development and technology. He has several years of experience helping tech organizations identifying, cultivating, and retain top-tier talents. With a foundation in behavioral science and organizational development, Mike has held strategic roles in leading tech companies, shaping the way teams grow and adapt to an ever-evolving landscape. Mike is passionate about building systems that empower people to thrive. Welcome to the show, Mr. Mike.
Welcome. Yes. Well, thank you. I'm super thrilled to be here and lovely to have me. And I'm looking forward to a great conversation with you.
Thank you. Can you take us back to your early postgraduate years? What led you into the field that development started, and why did it resonate with you?
Yeah, well, I think, all through my life, and I think that's what I would advise people, there's clues, right? So, I studied engineering, so a technical field, but I was doing like tutoring of students, and my mother's a teacher, and I was always naturally gravitating to teaching. And my first job after I graduated was at Accenture, a tech company. And although I started in technology and doing programming, I quickly, again, gravitated to the human side, the change management, the training. We were running a program for a client, an e-learning program, and it just was something that I was passionate about, and it really was something that motivated me, more so than coding or testing. So I think, what I advise my clients and what I would say to the listeners, follow your heart, follow the experiences that you have. And that's what I've been doing in my career.
Absolutely, I agree. And such a nice experience from a teacher family to be a coach and do the talent development. Mm-hmm. What was your first experience working within a tech company, and how did it differ from other industries that you worked or studied at?
Yeah, so I mentioned my first company was Accenture, Anderson Consulting at the time, and it wasn't necessarily a tech company at the time, but it did quickly evolve into that when they became Accenture. And what I really loved about Accenture, and I think that they still do this, is phenomenal training. And actually, I was able to have very senior roles when I was 26 years old, 24 years old even. It was really amazing. So rapid learning, great training, great opportunities, and fast-paced young people. So I really liked that. Later on, I actually did an MBA, and I went to work in a oil and gas company, and it was like night and day. Like, I just could not thrive in that environment after I'd worked in a consulting, but specifically a technology company. And then later on, my career naturally brought me back to technology. And to your point, what you were mentioning earlier, most of my clients are in the tech space because I just love the idea around, fast moving, emerging technology means emerging talent and lots of opportunity to develop these talents.
Interesting. And then you said that you didn't thrive in that environment. Was it that pivotal moment that you were convinced that you are going back to the tech industry again?
Well, after that, so I worked in a it was just, you sort of know, and that's also what I would advise to your listeners. Like the first day, I walked in and, everyone was wearing like suits. It was very conservative. There were very few young people. I would think I was late 20s at the time. And it just felt so slow moving. And then I went into consulting again. And to me, that's similar to tech. But I knew that these, banking I also tried. So working in tech, it just feels natural. And my best tech experience was probably at Salesforce, where I worked for 5 years. And I loved it. Just the way that we worked, so agile. But also the opportunity for developing leaders who were very inexperienced.
Very interesting. And now you became a senior leader in a younger age. And what kind of challenges do you encounter when developing talents in a tech sector?
Yeah, I think when you have young talent or when you have rapid growth. So, unlike working in a bank or, a mature organization where talent management is all about often managing people out or, deep succession pools because you don't have a lot of options to grow. Talent development, and my experience for coaching, it was such a different world in tech because we don't know what we're doing, to be frank. We're thrust into leadership roles at all levels, all the way up to, I was working with SVPs. They know what they're doing a little bit more, but these people just kind of learn by doing. So the opportunity and the challenge is helping people manage, helping them learn, because you're an expert. Let's say you're an expert in SAP or Salesforce or implementation XYZ or coding. But then when you have to manage people, that's just new territory for people.
And that's absolutely true. And now, what is interesting for me is to understand that you've been working in different industries, and now we're discussing the tech industry challenges. Comparing to other industries, do you think are these challenges unique?
I don't know every industry, but because tech is such rapid growth, I think they're extremely prevalent that we have immature leaders who do not know how to lead, which is great for me. So I'm a freelancer. I coach leaders one-on-one. I run workshops, and it's some of the basics, right? So how do you give someone feedback? How do you have your one-on-ones at the end of the year or throughout the year? How do you coach your team instead of telling them what to do? When I was a first-time leader, I thought, well, I'm promoted now to manager because I knew how to do X, Y, Z. And then I need to tell my team how to do X, Y, Z exactly the way I do. One day a team member came to me and said, Mike, I don't want you to tell me what to do. I want you to coach me. So that was a bit of a light bulb for me, and what I coach leaders as well. We need to have that coaching mindset, ask, not tell.
Thank you for sharing that. You've likely had conversation with professionals across different domains. How do they perceive talent development in tech compared to other sectors? Like when they are saying this to you, that coach me, don't advise me, and then you start coaching them, how do they receive? Because these are the people of algorithm developing systems. So that might be a different story.
I found, so I work with a number of tech clients. I work with Salesforce, I work with Databricks, I work with ServiceNow, I work with quite a number of these tech companies. And what I find interesting, no matter whether the person is in a technology role or kind of a marketing role, I do find these people are extremely receptive to this work. So I've been running with ServiceNow workshops for their technology leaders around feedback, and they're leaning right in. So I think my experience, which has been really positive, is generally folks are really receptive because they have this learning agile mindset. So if they have the opportunity to get training, they jump on it. It's not everyone, and maybe it's actually, I would say, more European leaders. I've had some different experiences working in North America. We can leave it there, but definitely I'm impressed with the learning mindset that folks come in with, which that keeps me busy.
And that's great because we're in an industry that we want to develop even more. So that's a good news. Now, shifting to AI, with the rise of AI and AI agents, how do you think the process of finding true professional will evolve, especially in a world where credential can be fake?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, I rely on AI heavily for my role. I'm sure you do too. I think we are going to more and more need people who can demonstrate that they can manage these agents. So I think the days of kind of competing on resume alone, because I can get ChatGPT to make me an amazing resume. I think interviewers, and it's got to be about experiences and more case-based interviewing. And but one thing remains true: we don't hire people only for their experience, for their technical depth. We hire people based on potential. So I think it's actually, and I'm just thinking out loud as you're asking me the question, I think that the opportunity for talent development is help leaders look for people's potential, because we are in a completely new world. So hiring for potential is more important than ever, because I don't know what any of our roles are going to look like in the future. What do you think?
That's very true. Yeah, I absolutely agree with you, and that's very true. But then talking about using AI and finding the true talents, it's also about responsible AI, because as you said, you get ChatGPT to make a brilliant CV for you. So how do you envision AI being used responsibly when talent development and human capital management is taking place?
Yeah, I think there's such an opportunity in coaching to help people kind of day to day, right? So in terms of like leveraging ChatGPT to help me manage my day. I use it outside of work, of course, when I'm in the kitchen. It's not my strength. So if you're in an area where you're not in your strength, it's really an important crutch, if you will. I worry about us getting addicted to it. And I think that it's so important for managers to look for authenticity in documents and in resumes. And I've had some folks, even in my personal life, send me something that I'm like, did you write this? And I think if you are, at least today, if you're smart and you know people and you connect with people, you can see through it. So I think there's such an important element of leadership that will never go away, and exceptional leaders will see through AI because it just won't feel authentic. It won't feel authentic. Yeah.
You got a point there, and I totally agree with that. So it's also important that the human aspect is kind of taken care of when you look at the new talent development pool. Well, you have coached many individuals. How do you adopt your coaching style across different personality types and professional levels?
Yeah, and I guess that, blending from your last question, I don't think AI will replace coaches, because there's we have this as human beings. We can sense things about people. We can look at how, I'm looking at your smiling, right? If you weren't smiling, I can clue into that. AI cannot do that. So for me, coaching is completely custom. I work with clients to really, first of all, understand what are their goals. That's fundamental. And how do they want to be coached? So in my first session with clients, I asked them, I have a client who really wanted to be challenged. And so, that was so important. So I had to, put on my challenger hat. And for me, that's the thing about coaching. You have to adapt to what the other person needs, and constant feedback. So after a couple of sessions, I said to him, hey, how's it going? And he said, surprisingly to me, you can challenge me more. So I'm actually developing, because I'm Canadian and we're very nice people, but I'm not used to that. So, but it's so important as a coach to flex to your clients. I also had one client who, we were chatting and I could tell she's so close to a burnout, and we were having a conversation, and I had to say, listen, you need to go see a professional. You need to talk to your doctor, because I'm worried about you. And you have to meet your clients where they are. And because there's no point in me coaching you on your career if I can just tell you're burnt out. So as coaches, we have such a responsibility to tune in to our clients, and that right now, AI cannot do that. I'm not saying it might, one day we might be wearing these sensors that the AI can tell if our heart rate is going up, but definitely we have to lean into the human side of coaching and leadership.
Absolutely, I totally agree. And I think the sympathy is the important aspect here that AI cannot do, as for today at least.
Yes.
Are there any tools or technologies you personally use or recommend your coaching or mentoring practices?
I love the idea about 360s. In fact, this coaching client who wanted me to challenge him more, we did a 360. And I think the power of getting viewpoints at all levels, so your direct reports, your peers, your boss. So I recommend, I use something called the Leadership Circle, which is a robust 360 instrument. I have other ones that, 360 is a little bit less intense, but I love that one because it is correlated to the best leaders in the world. So I can show a leader results of how do they see their leadership, How do their peers and direct reports, and what are their reactive tendencies? How do they show up when they're triggered? Are they controlling? Are they complying? So that's something I use. I also am a big fan of strength-based testing. So I have some psychometrics around that. But those are the ones I try and stick to. I do some assessments in all of my programs, but a lot of my work is around helping people reflect, helping people practice. So I use a lot of role plays, because often I'm teaching folks how to facilitate. You cannot learn facilitation by reading a book. And so we role play. We have disruptors. We stage something so people experience what's it like to run a meeting when someone is disruptive, and also what's it like to coach somebody who is closed or who is talking too much. So I think the power is really in these role plays and real life scenarios.
I agree, and I have used that tool. It's quite powerful. Well, something personal, the reason I started this podcast was that some of my Harvard colleagues and we are using AI to reduce the school shooting. What we do is to study the information from last 60 years and then identify some patterns that can be matched with the live data. And what kind of advice do you have for us when we are managing the stakeholders like the schools, parents, and authorities and all of those?
Yeah, it's a great initiative. So that's wonderful to hear about. I would say what comes up for me is, first of all, privacy and making sure that people know what's happening with data. We wouldn't want to typecast certain people because there's danger, right? Like if I know that if you have gray hair and blue eyes and you're from Canada and you wear a green shirt, that you're going to that's dangerous. So we have to be careful about generalization. So I think understanding the privacy, understanding the case for change is so important, and getting the right stakeholders involved. We don't want to be going into an initiative where we don't have the right, maybe parent groups, school groups, etc. And probably showing, I think open communication is so important with this kind of stuff. Very interesting. It would be very interesting to explore how data in many aspects of our lives can predict, but I do think there's always anomalies. So I'm keen to hear more about that.
Thanks. I will share more of it on LinkedIn later so you can follow. There is a favorite question in this show, which I have, and that is, if you had unlimited resources and complete freedom, what kind of project would you pursue to combine tech and talent development at a scale?
I think there's such application in career development, because people struggle with navigating their career at all levels. And many organizations, almost all organizations, struggle with helping their people navigate, because organizations change, roles change. So having like an encyclopedia of all the roles in your organization will be outdated tomorrow. But through use of AI, I really see there's such an opportunity to have, a coach, like an AI coach, with the information that you have in organizations or beyond. Hey, I've done XYZ job and I have XYZ experiences. What are 3 potential roles that I can be working towards? And who might mentor or coach me in the organization to get towards there? There's such power in that. I know Salesforce is toying with stuff like that, but I think there's such an untapped opportunity to help people navigate their careers. I would have loved to do it. I studied engineering. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know what kind of careers were open after that. And I've sort of been fortunate and lucky in my career, but having that support around where I could go next would have really helped me.
It's an amazing use case. I hope some investors who are listening to this show will contact you later.
And come talk to me.
Yes. Finally, what does Beyond the Tech mean to you? When you hear the phrase, what comes to your mind?
Well, of course, I work in the HR space. So for me, technology is nothing without the people. And I think as we're moving to this world of AI and, advanced technology and data, there's a temptation to outsource we talked a little bit about this, our decision making, our empathy to technology. And I really feel we need to lean into humanity more than ever before in our coaching, in our development, in our personal lives. So I would say when I hear that, I think that the humanity we have to focus on our human side to continue to grow and thrive in the world. So tech is great. Humanity is more important than ever.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike, to be with us in this show. I really enjoyed the conversation. I hope our listeners did as well. And ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mike Silverberg.
Yes, and I love chatting and looking forward to hearing and speaking to your members. You can always follow me on LinkedIn, Mike Silverberg, and my company is Silver Lining. So pleasure to connect and looking forward to staying connected.